Well, here on Pirate Videos, we've always tried to take our viewers inside the pits and get a closer look at what happens down here in the heart of the machine, as it were. So this week, we thought we'd take a close look at what really goes on down here with these machines. Now, we all know that these machines are exactly the same, 500 cc's, no brakes and no gears. But every rider will want to try and make sure that through the little subtle changes that they make to personalise it, that it'll be getting the best for him and that he's getting the best out of the equipment. So who is it that polices it and makes sure that everything is done within the rules? Let me introduce you to Ricky Neale and Bill White down here at Poole. They're the machine examiners and they're the eyes and ears of the referee in the pits. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that these track bikes don't become slack bikes. Ricky, tell us a little bit about the pre-meeting scrutiny. We've watched you doing it, and what are you looking for on these machines?
Well, you sort of start doing the bike, check the throttle closes all right, check all the spokes that they're all tight, cracks in the frames, bearings, wearing the bearings, exhaust is bolted to the engine properly, silencers on properly, again backside, rear loop for cracks. Just basically that it's okay to race, that there's no mechanical things that you can visibly see.
We've said that the riders obviously try and get the best out of these machines and they're building within the rules, hopefully. Is it at that point that you can see if there's anything amiss?
It's hard to see what's in, obviously you can't see what's in the engine, but a lot of engine tones are different to others, which tells you there's a little bit more tuning gone on than others may have. So,
Bill, I know that you're there and you're helping because it's a big job to inspect all of these bikes before the meeting gets going.
28 altogether.
Yeah.
2 riders, 2 bikes per rider, 7 riders per team. All got to be done before the meeting starts.
And there's an awful lot of paperwork as well, isn't there?
Ricky sees to the paperwork.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I mean it may look to the naked eye that you come in, you look around and it's all sort of lip service, but it genuinely is a very technical and specific job.
Yeah, there's a Speedway Control Bureau form we have to fill in, which is what frames the riders are on, what engines they are their holes drilled, what their helmets are they in good condition, which they all have to be filled out before the meeting starts and given to the referee. I have another form to sign to say that all the bikes are all okay, and ready to race. It's so there is quite a bit to do in not a very long time. You don't get that much time to do it, so you're constantly on the go. And when they're all warming up, it's cutouts to be done, make sure all the cutouts work and things like that. So yeah, the two of us, it is quite a big job.
It's obviously a full night's work, and it doesn't end with just talking about scrutineering the bikes at the beginning of the match. But of course, you're on duty right the way through the match to see that nothing goes wrong. And the referee, of course, can at any time ask for random testing as well.
Yeah, you quite often phone down for carburetor checks, things like that. Sometimes you have fuel checks. But you constantly have to watch what the riders are doing, have to watch every race to see if anything falls off the bike. If so, you go to the referee. Yeah, it is a bit of a full-time job. And even in the interval, you're still walking around checking, they're not doing things untoward. Sometimes they try to, but the last few years it's been pretty good,
Now, if the worst comes to the worst and you do find something the matter, what's the procedure then?
If the rider doesn't fix a problem, we do have the right to impound the bike. It's like with helmets. We had one the other day with a Polish rider. His helmet wasn't fit to use. We impounded his helmet, but had to give it to him back because in Poland he's allowed to use that helmet. There are no checks on helmets and equipment in Poland. So over here we are very, very tight on equipment and clothing. If the clothing's damaged, we've got time to repair it. And you can impound what you feel is not right.
That's an interesting facet and something I never realised, that you actually cover the clothing as well. Now, this week is particularly controversial because in controversial circumstances at Eastbourne, we've heard earlier on, just before the Arena Essex match, that the Poole riders ended up having 2 engine failures. And the referee phoned down to the machine examiners and said, can you make sure that's genuine? Can you tell if it's genuine?
Yeah, you could ask the rider to start the bike up when he comes in the pits. Obviously, if it starts, they're in a problem. If it fails to start, then obviously he must have had a problem. But it might not just been an engine problem that he had. It could have been a cable break or something that he felt wasn't right on the bike, which enabled him to pull out of the race.
Well, finally, and just before they get going here, what sort of modifications are they allowed to make? What will they be working on that's within the rules?
There's certain things they can lighten. You can't use titanium anywhere on the bike. Yeah, it's pretty much sort of tied up what they can and can't do. Most of it is little modifications in the engine, lighting bits, but that's about it.
Well, the machine examiners may well be the eyes and ears of the referee down here in the pits, but they answer to the clerk of the course. And here at Poole, Paul Applin knows a thing or two about the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, I'd say all the riders try to do different things, as you know, legally, but there are some illegal things that do go on, but unless they get caught, it just goes on. But there, you know, we've seen a lot over the years that does go on. Some of it's been brought to the attention of authorities, but you know, it just goes on. Everybody, all the riders are trying to beat the system, whether it's legally or not.
I've got to say that the Speedway bike is pretty uncomplex, but there's still an awful lot of things that go to make up the true performance. It's all about tyres, fuel, and the bike itself, of course.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're trying things all the time to improve and what have you. You know, one little trick like a night like it is tonight, they put the tyres to warm them up. That's perfectly legal. Little things like that goes on all the time, but you have got to watch them.
And what about the fuel? How do we control what happens to the fuel? Do they draw that from the stadium, or do they bring that to the track themselves?
No, Max, the spare man, brings the fuel. Some of them do bring their own, but not many times now. But you know, the fuel is the main ingredient. Like in a Grand Prix, the fuel is issued, and after each race, the fuel is drained. So you know, everything's very, very tight at a Grand Prix.
And when we talk about the referee, the machine examiners, are his eyes in the pits, are there things sometimes that might catch your eye that you might come over to the machine examiners and ask them to check out?
Well, the machine examiners, if they see anything, they come to me, and then we decide what we're going to do about it. The referee is obviously informed on whatever's found, and then it goes from there. If the referee feels then he wants a check on it. There is also a carburation check during the meeting anyhow. You usually do about 4 during the meeting, 2 from each side. So that's checked as the meeting goes on. But, you know, the meeting goes on, and if there is something that's brought to my attention, we deal with it.
And it's a good job that the guys that are checking those machines really do know the technical side of it and they know what they're doing.
Yes, Ricky and Bill, you know, have been here a long time, and they do know what they're doing. Ricky does grass track, so he's well up with what should go on and what shouldn't go on.
Well, it just goes to show then that even though these bikes are all the same, they can be subtly different. And what's reassuring to know, of course, is that there are these guys down here making sure that above all else, it's all fair. Well, that does wrap it up for this edition, and I have to say once again, Graham, treated as some excellent speedway, but there could be worrying times ahead for the Pirates.
Well, certainly in this volume you've seen 2 very close matches indeed, last heat deciders, and sandwiched between those a fairly comfortable win over what we thought was going to be a tough one. So that does show the unpredictabilities, but behind that I think it also shows that the team at the moment is not really putting it consistently together on the track, and some riders are struggling more than others, and some are fortunately keeping the ship afloat. But certainly, although we're still at the top of the table, things are looking a little bit troublesome as we come into the Elite League B matches.
It is an interesting situation because, of course, in the Elite League A, we took wins where already we've lost, and in particular thinking of Arena Essex and Eastbourne, and we're heading now into matches that possibly we may have won in the Elite League A. Once again, they're going to be seemingly much tougher this time around. We may not win, or we may not be top of the league for the second half.
That's right, and of course what you've got to remember is we hit the ground running, we had early matches, we were on fine form, we had Tony Ricardson in the team, and what's happened is that some of the teams that were struggling in 1 or 2 departments have strengthened up and they've signed new riders, so the Elite League B is almost going to be like a separate competition, and the teams that we're racing against, as we've seen with Arena, who have taken 3 of the 5 points available for the B match, whereas we took all 5 against them, and that I think is going to be the pattern for the remaining matches of the season. We're going to see a completely different proposition, and of course the trick is to try and continue to win those home matches and pick up the odd bonus point. The bonus point obviously is a very controversial thing at the moment, but the Pirates really must, however they do it, pick up a few bonus points. Otherwise they could see someone like Wolverhampton come in and take them off the top of the table. Maybe still, I think a playoff place is comfortable there, but there's still everything to ride for, I think.
Yes, I think there is still everything to ride for, and we have to say that if the Pirates don't perform, Matt Ford, Neale Middleditch, they've said that they're prepared to make changes, but one has to say, if they're going to make changes, where are those riders going to come from? I don't see too many riders around who can possibly slot into place, and of course with the new rules, it's not going to be easy to slot somebody straight in to take the place of a rider who perhaps isn't up to his game. But nonetheless, as I said, this brings our edition on this occasion to an end. It brings our Elite League A matches almost to an end, and we're heading now well into Elite League B. We've got all that to come. We've got a report probably on the Grand Prix of Britain from Cardiff, which will be taking place this weekend. So all that news will come on our next edition. I hope you'll join us for that next edition, but for now, from me, Nigel Leahy, from Graham, and from Rob behind the camera there, a very good evening. Thanks for watching Pirate Videos, and stay with us.